it to deep left. That might send the Yankees to the World Series. Boone, a hero in Game 7.
Clemens has set a major league record for strikeouts in a game.
Derek Jeter with one of the most unbelievable plays you will ever see by a shortstop.
Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
Welcome back to Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports in part 2 of our conversation with former Major Leaguer Rico Brogna. We pick up our conversation talking about a very popular topic nowadays, the shift. You're a spray the ball everywhere hitter, but there was a time when you became almost a pull hitter to your detriment.
Right, absolutely.
I want to hear your take on the shift, because it's a topic.
Yep.
I'll give you my take afterwards, but I want to hear what your opinion is on it.
Yeah, and I was part of the, I was an information coach, maybe the first or second in the MLB back in 2014. It really wasn't in vogue yet. I was involved with the shifting and how we're going to play players on the pitchers meetings with the Angels and hitters meetings, coaches meetings, how we're going to play guys every night, every series. And I always tended as a former player to lean back, let's go a little bit more back to straight up defense. So like if it was, the front office or somebody that did in the dots on the plot showed us we really should pull. I always gravitated toward who's pitching, which doesn't get they factor. The smart ones will factor it in a lot. And then is there a guy who has command of what he's doing? Because this guy's a pull hitter, let's shift him. So I'm going to throw him sinkers away, so he's going to roll over. But is it going to be a sinker away? And is it what's the velocity? Yeah, there's a lot of factors, and I thought it was valuable to just hold back a little bit. So if we're going to be a full shift, I would always try to, let's go back to half or three, whatever you want to call it.
What's your take?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You said you had a take.
He kind of took the question a little bit different direction.
I went a different.
I'm talking. No, it's fine. I like that answer. My question is, should there be shifting?
Good or bad?
Should you ban it, you mean?
Well, there's talk. There's talk in Major League Baseball, and there's a growing movement that it should be not allowed.
How many times have you seen a straight hit up the middle that in 1995 would have been a single every single day, 7 days a week?
All the time.
All the time.
How many times do you see a ball hit, boom, and the dude don't even move?
Right.
The third baseman is playing short right field, and he's just standing there.
So if you do the data, this is good stuff, because if you do the data and look at the stats and you take a large sample size through many years, many seasons of the same types of hitters, the numbers are going to kind of be almost in the same ballpark, to use a baseball phrase.
It's a wash. You think?
Maybe not. Certain. The smaller the sample size, the greater the difference. Obviously, the larger the sample size, you can play with the numbers there, but. For every ball that went up the middle, there's a flare over there, or there's a...
Why don't they bunt the crap out of it and make them honest? I don't understand why...
Hit the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Should Major League Baseball players be able to hit the opposite direction?
Yeah, I think a hitter's goal should be to become a good hitter first, let the power... Usually home runs, they kind of come as they come, and you grow and you learn your swing.
It doesn't work that way anymore, right?
Yeah, no, they're going for down, are definitely developed differently. I think the good hitters are always good hitters. And then they let their 19 to 21 home runs happen. They get a lot of doubles. They spray the field. They disallow if that's the right word.
Right.
Or
You're
word
right,
at all. Disallow the defense to play shift on you. Now you're going to be count conscious with those guys. In certain situations, you're going to maybe move. But this is what we did as players without like cards and dot plots.
Yeah.
Is we knew the situation. That's the only thing I really dislike about it all is anytime you take an ounce of feel or instinct or teamwork away from a player, you lose a lot.
You see the players take out the card, look at the card, and they follow it. And it goes down to, you said it before, and I want to transition to Red Sox in a second, but I went to my kids' flag practice, and I don't care what my kids do, but the dad of the quarterback is like, he's one of those dads, and he's chirping, and he's upset that he's splitting quarterback duties. But he said this, that his son was given a play, and there was a breakdown, and he threw to a different guy than the play was supposed to, and it was a good play. And he got yelled at. that he didn't go to the intended target.
Was a robot.
And this is 11 and 12-year-old flag football.
Gosh.
I mean, this is
That he should be celebrating that. He's open. Brady says, they ask him, who do you throw to? He goes, the receiver that's open.
yeah. I was blown away that happened. I was blown away that Dad's that involved, but I mean, I'm also blown away that those things are trickling down. But I mean, we could talk for 16 hours about this stuff. I love it because I learn a lot because I don't know a lot of inside baseball. So it's helpful for me. But you know, we're talking with Rico Brogna, who had 9 seasons. Let's see, Detroit, Mets, Phillies, Atlanta, Boston. Was there anything else in there?
No, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was bad enough, good enough to get moved around a lot or shopped around a lot. I mean, it was a bummer. I got moved from Philly because I loved it there.
I was just going to say, where was your favorite place?
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time there, 4 seasons, you know, and an injury, breaking my arm, and they drafted Pat Burrell, who ended up being a left fielder, not a first baseman, which was quite obvious at the beginning, you know, but they wanted him to come up and the team. So, you know, that ended a long run for me there, but...
It's Schilling, Roland. I mean,
we had Brady Glanville, Abreu, when he was young, Lieberthal, All-Star. It was a team.
That's right.
We had a good team. We had a couple All-Stars.
Mickey Morandini.
Yep.
Was he on that team?
Yeah, he was in
For
the first team, or first year or two
Did you play with
there.
him in the minor leagues against him for Reading?
Against him, yes.
Yeah.
And Scranton.
So let's talk
I
about
used to be in Scranton. So
that stint in Boston, since this is about the greatest rivalry in sports. Just tell people a little bit about your family background and who you cheered for growing up and how important it was to you.
Well, it was life, death. I mean, it was, especially for me, who sports was everything. I mean, it really had nothing else, no other interest but sports. My dad was a coach year-round in prep school, so he coached football, basketball, baseball. He watched every game at night, coming home from his practices. I would go to his practices. So sports was life, and I kind of lived it through my father and his teams and as a coach. And he had Boston everything on, and he was, I mean, he was fanatical about it. I mean, when I had to go to bed, when they were doing the tape delay Celtics NBA championship finals at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was, you know, living at Taft in this second floor CPT, you know, and
It's an apartment.
It's an apartment in the dorm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's, you know, middle of the night. The tape delay's on. I don't know. They're on the West Coast. I made sure I kept my door open so I could hear him because I knew I would hear him. You know, he's gonna be like. So he was screaming, "Put him back in! Put him back in! No, why are you shooting?" And then when I didn't hear anything, I knew they were doing well. So and then he would always come in. I mean, there were a couple times when he came in and they won the championship. So he'd come in and wake me up when they won the title or won a big game. And it was everything. I mean, you know, it was crazy. It was like Boston Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots. Steve Grogan has got a neck brace. He was my favorite quarterback. You know, Danny Ainge. Yeah.
The Lakers were rough.
John Hanna and Craig. You know, I mean, so I followed them. All the teams like it was my life. If the Patriots lost back then, which happened a lot, it really ruined my week. Huh. And I remember literally going into a shower after those games, because I kind of had on those Sundays. I watched the game, eat, take a shower, whatever, and do some homework. But feeling really, really down or really, really happy. It weighed on me big time because it was that important to me. And so when I tell my son, I'm like, this is not the norm, you know, with the Patriots.
They're terrible.
What you're seeing over the last 20 years is not what it was like.
So were the Yankees like a big deal? Because we talked about it, how, you know, the Bucky Dent home run is one thing, but like generally speaking, they didn't play a lot of huge games until they started meeting in the playoffs, right? And so was it a hate Yankee thing or not?
Oh yeah, it was definitely absolutely. It was on when they're playing the Yankees. There were a lot of day games back then, so you got to see them all usually. If you didn't see the beginning of the game, you saw the end of the game. Those were the moments that made heroes and goats, and I was like all in with that, absolutely. And it was the Yankees always won, and they're always playing the Royals and the ALs to go to the World Series, and they play the Dodgers, and it's like, why can't the Reds? You know, I was, you know, had their batting order. When I go in the backyard, I try to mimic each stance. I go 1 through 9, and I was Stanley throwing a sinker, and Luis Tiant, of course, you know, with all his delivery mechanics. I went in the backyard, right? I couldn't stay and watch a full game, so I had to go and shoot. Go and throw balls against the wall, field ground balls. Go back down, shoot some more hoops. Go pretend I'm a running back, you know, then go back and watch the game. I couldn't watch a 2-hour, 3-hour game. at all without going to do something.
Was it a big deal for you and your family when you put on the Red Sox uniform?
I know it was. Because my Boston family, all my father's side relatives, oh my gosh, the tickets, the night, and before the games are in BP, they would all get down to the dugout somehow.
And you still have family living in the North End.
Oh yeah, a lot too, bro. I mean, like they would call me by my nick, so I knew it was them when they're, everyone's calling your name. It was like, and it would be like, it looked like a group of 50. I mean, I went to the North End and they, had lunch, not every day, but a lot when I was there, and they, bring out the whole menu for me because I was a North End kid. I mean, I literally did go to the North End a lot, when I was growing up. So
was it pressure? Did you feel pressure?
I felt a lot of pressure because I wasn't playing. I felt really like I was letting everyone down because I'm not on the field. And I had just come back from an injury, but they had a lot of success with Brian Daubach at the time. So it wasn't that I felt like I should be playing, although I would have, competed for that.
Well, let's be honest, you're a better all-around baseball player than Daubach, but he had some stretches where he was doing really well.
Right, the offense, he was hitting, some power, and I just felt like I was letting everyone down that I wasn't in there. So I was really heartbroken without trying to act like I was heartbroken. I'm handling all this.
Right.
And they asked me to go on the DL when I wasn't hurt. A lot of things crushed me there.
This brings a lot of. Did you know you were near the end?
I didn't think so because I had just broken my arm. I just came off of 3 of my best years in MLB. I mean, literally went, 100 RBI, whatever, 2020, and played in 150. I led the Phillies in games played for the last few years. And they always say, you're always getting hurt. I'm like, no,
playing.
Look at the record. Yeah. I'm first. Then there's other players in games played. So I've made it a personal thing, trained and everything to play every day. I didn't really think I was at the end until I got to Atlanta.
Okay.
But with Boston, I even told them I'll take minimum salary. I mean, I literally said something like I'll take minimum salary or $500,000 to come play for you guys for the next couple of years. I just want to play for the Sox, and maybe finish my career here, that kind of thing.
And they said no.
Well, they didn't contact me, so that's saying no. Yeah, they didn't really. I mean, I'm sure they enjoyed that back because Mike Lansing was a guy they picked up and Dante Bichette and myself after the waiver deadline that year, and they got. I think Dante went back. I know Mike Lansing went back, was re-signed by them. I'm not sure. I think they still had Daubach, who had done fairly well.
So putting all that in perspective, go back to. I have the date written down because it's an important date, right? It's August 14th of 2000.
Yeah.
The Red Sox are 59 and 54, still chasing.
You said they were 3 games out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what point, but we were close.
Yeah, they were 5. I think 5. They were playing the Rays, and and you're pinch hitting. Just take us through that whole and what happened, because a lot of people listening and watching don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so this whole thing, I was really down. I was in a bad state of mind. I was coming off an injury. I want to show the Red Sox I can play here, how much I love it here. I want to stay here. I want to play here for the rest of my career, and I'm not even getting a shot. And then I get it's hard in baseball to just come off the bench and try to get a hit, or play nonetheless, get a hit. So it's going through a really difficult season, coming off my first year of being hurt and out. And then coming back and getting the dream of the Red Sox, not playing. And then they told me a couple times they would like to make roster changes. They don't want to get rid of me, but they want me to go on the DL. So, I mean, I wasn't hurt. I was actually coming back from the injury, now healthy. So there was a lot. I was getting crushed, kind of a jab, uppercut. And a couple things about that night. For some reason, I had been getting ready throughout the game a little bit more often. As if I don't know why I didn't always take that many swings back there in the tunnel to get ready. I did that night. Billy Taylor, I faced in the minor leagues a bunch.
So you knew him.
I knew him, and I knew him we had faced each other quite a bit in AAA. So it wasn't. I don't know if it was 10 at bats or 15, but that's you can.
You know what he's got.
Put a little book together. Yeah, I knew he's got. I knew what he looked like. So my first swing in the first at bat, I let it fly, and I was right on it. I mean, I felt like I was right on it. I fell straight back, and I'm like, I'm loose. I took a lot of swings. I got Billy to, but to go through that at bat, I mean,
Well, first of all, give us the
before,
situation.
right? I don't want to
in the
get
game.
beyond.
What was it?
So, yeah.
I mean, like, it's not just a good at-bat.
No, I know. I don't want to get ahead of it because the Boston fans are unbelievable for what they did. They knew they know as I did growing up. They know everything about every player passionately, and so they knew I loved it there. They knew I grew up there. You know, they knew I was a Red Sox person. Yeah, and it was in my DNA. So that was all known, and they knew that I was. There was actually kind of like a push for me to. I could tell in the paper and the reporters.
They wanted more.
Yeah, play. Like, we know it's hard when you're not playing every day, and we need you to play. And I just kept being a good team player, telling Jimmy Williams, "I'll do whatever you need." You know, I'll be, and that's literally what I kept telling him. So when they intentionally so to the game, before that game, they asked me to go. Literally, you know, I don't know, within a half hour of first pitch, they asked me to go on the DL. I think for the second or third time, I wasn't hurt, and
That actual game.
that game. So Rod Beck, shooter, came to me after the game. He's since passed, you know.
Yep.
And after that game, he was the closer for the Red
Love
Sox.
that.
Yeah, awesome. So I knew him against the Giants. We knew each other, and he came after. He knew what happened before the game. You know, locker wasn't far away. He knew I was again asked to try to go in, and I got mad. It was the first time I got mad. No, I'm not going to the deal. I'm not hurt. I fought back to get, you know, healthy the whole year. I'm ready to play. Play me or whatever. I don't care if you release me by. I do care. I don't tell him that, but so he kind of heard what was going on after the game. He came up to me and kind of looked me in the eye and said, you know, kind of a dude, that was awesome.
I can see him saying it.
Yeah, like you gotta tell the press that. You gotta tell the press what happened before the game. You gotta let it be known. I was like, I can't do that. Okay,
So let me get this straight. If you had said okay, you wouldn't have played that night. Correct. If they said DL, then you wouldn't even have been in it.
Yep, they were banking on me loving being with the Sox. That I would just say yes to stay with
So
them.
you said no, you're on the bench, and let's just, for everyone at home, you didn't start,
Didn't start
right?
the game.
Bottom of the ninth.
Yep. So it was. Yep.
Okay, so, and who got intentionally walked?
Well, so this is the major part of the story. Well, the other part being they asked me to go on the DL.
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Yeah, that was, and you know, these games are big, and we had a little thing going with Tampa Bay with Pedro Martinez and their bench brawls and stuff like that. So there's some intensity.
Gerald Williams.
Oh yeah, I was in. I mean, we were there in Tampa and back, and he got
That was the first
taken
one.
out in the third or fourth inning or something at Fenway, and then he went down. We went down there to Tampa, and I think he threw it the first batter of the game, first inning, and then we had that big ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was there, but that was a fun one.
Did you get any shots in it?
I was late. I was not on the field playing. So my excuse is I was a little late to the party. I was in the pile, but I was not like Brian Daubach. I can still see Brian Daubach's face was on the bottom. Roberto Hernandez getting some shots in on him. But yeah. So there's intensity in the game. It was close. Fenway's rocking. I mean, it's the Rays, but it's a big game. Late in the year with, you know, chasing the Yanks. So I was put in for defense. We took I think we took a 1-run lead in the 7th or 8th or something. I'm not going to lose some of the details. Or I was put in for defense. So usually Jimmy did that if we had a 1-run lead or something, and they either tied it or the game was already tied. But Daubach came out. I went in to play D, and somebody got to, first and second base were open. I think Veritek might have got to third with 2 outs on a sac fly or something. Anyways, first and second base were open, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Tie game? Or down by 1? No, tie game?
I think it's tied.
I think it's either tied or down, but yeah, so it's Nomar and Carl Everett, who at the time were all-stars. You know, Nomar's hitting almost 400, going for 400. Carl was unbelievable, going, you know, all-star. And I'm like, I looked at Buddy Bailey, our bench coach. You know, Jimmy's up on the top step, but Buddy Bailey's down, like, getting the players all in, what's going to happen. And I said, Buddy, dude, they're coming after me. They're coming after me. And he goes, what are you talking? I'm just going up to get the bat. You know, I'm in the hole. I go, this is my at-bat. And he didn't even know what I was talking about. Like, he didn't think that far ahead. He's thinking of the moment like he should be.
Wait, did they intensely walk both?
Both.
They're working around them to get to you.
Both. So first, I knew it. Going to get my bat.
Was it an actual intentional walk, or did they, like, pitch around? 4. Wow.
8 straight.
So you got to be walking up there like,
I knew it when I was before I put one batting glove on.
Yeah.
I mean, a player, I know what are they going to do.
But walking up to the plate, you got to be like, I got to show these.
So I before I hit the top step, honest to God, I probably didn't even take a step. There's 2, 3, 4 steps coming out the dugout of Fenway. I hear my name being chanted. Okay, by the entire stadium. It didn't sound like it. It sounded like a small group when I'm coming out. But by the time I hit the grass, it's the stadium. To me, it was the stadium. It was so loud. It
probably was.
I was like, how many moments in the backyard did I have? Coming up, following the Red Sox with it.
But you have all these side things. The team doesn't want you. The other team didn't respect you. You know, and then you're coming in cold. I mean, so it's all those things. If you were just a regular player and came up those steps in that situation, you'd be jacked up. But you must have been on 11.
The ingredients were, I was on 11. The ingredients were, you can't make it up, doesn't happen, can't happen, shouldn't happen, won't ever happen again. Kind of. And then when I got, hit it literally, the video, when I see it, the camera is shaking. I mean, that probably happens for anyone who hits a walk-off grand slam. But before I was in the box, I mean, they're on their feet, like Fenway does, and they're chanting my first name, and I was like, I think I remember them doing it before I walked out. Like they knew as soon as they walked to the first guy, whether it was Carl or Nomar, I'm not sure. I think I started.
They figured it out too.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to walk Carl to get to Nomar,
right?
Or Nomar to get to Carl. It was walking him to get to me, and I knew it. 2 bases open. I'm hitting 170. With coming off an injury, but I was like, I got Billy Taylor in my book. I know him.
He's a righty.
Feel good. He's a righty, but he's also this. So he's like, it was a good matchup for me. I could see his release point really well. It's a little. I'm not trying for a home run. I'm just trying to hit a base hit. Because I think the winning run's on second or third.
Right.
Both. So I had the right frame of mind. I had a lot of things going for me there. I thought but when I missed that first pitch, you're always like, you might get one pitch to hit.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, and it was a good swing, and it was right there. And it got behind. I think it got to 2-2. And I was looking for his slider back. He threw me a lot of backdoor sliders in facing him. It was his thing against a lefty. He just tried to bring that backdoor slider around. So even if you hit it, you probably wouldn't hit it well.
Nice.
And I mean, I was looking for it, and it came right over the heart of the plate. And I still didn't think I hit it out, because really deep in right field at Fenway.
Yeah.
I thought it was over his head. To be honest with you, I said, I think I got it.
Is that one of those things in your life? Because you've had a lot of moments as an athlete in general. Is that one of those things that you can close your eyes, you can see as clear as day?
Yeah, I can see the pitch. I can see the at bat. I can hear my name. Some of the details of the obviously I'm forgetting some of them, but I know the first. They walk guys to get the essential ingredients.
Yeah.
Did you get all the way to home?
Yeah, I got to home, but they were waiting for me. And I realized at that time that they were psyched that we won, but they were mobbing me, like even in the locker room, in the clubhouse, it was like a feel good. Because I had said, I'm here for the team, I'll do whatever you want. I'm here for the team, I'll do whatever you want. I was being honest. They all knew that, and I think they were just, I was happy. That was, you can't throw all those things in there.
I'm stunned. I didn't know about the DL thing. I mean, did you know about that?
No.
That day, I had my cell phones were just starting to come into the locker rooms. So it was 2000. Yeah, year 2000. So I had a cell phone in the locker room like all the players were now doing. And they were old, and I remember calling Melissa.
Oh, go ahead. Finish.
No, I was saying, calling Melissa. Melissa, I think I'm going to be released. You might need to come pick. We might need to leave the hotel, because I was staying in a Brookline hotel while I was in. I didn't know how many days I'd be there. Thought I'd be gone. And that game, I called her, right before the game, and said, "Hey, hon, Melissa, I think we're done tonight. I think they're going to let me go."
Did she go to the game?
No.
Did Joe Bro go to the game? Your dad? Was he there?
He wasn't there for that one, I don't think. No.
Do you have another question? Because I want to close on. No, you sure? You got something? It just occurs to me, I've known your family for a long time. And before I knew you, we never really spent a ton of time personally, maybe a couple Super Bowls or whatever. I just remember him with his Elway jersey on. Do you think it hurt you being such a good person, so nice? Like I just wondered, like some of these moments and knowing you and your family, maybe they're all like that. Maybe, I don't know. But I mean, I just wonder, like, being so honest. I mean, because it breaks my heart to hear that as a pro athlete, which is such a zero-sum game, and it's so hard to even make it, like be the 25th guy on a roster, right? And to go to a team and say, I want to be here. Like, give me just a chance to be here. Just let me come to spring training.
Yep.
And it didn't happen. Like, that to me is, honestly, is a little gut-wrenching to hear.
Yeah, it was very genuine too. I mean, it really meant, I wasn't just speaking it.
Yeah,
really
I
meant
know
it.
that.
Yep, it's, yeah, I just,
You wouldn't do it any other way. I understand.
yeah, I mean, I think I had family tell me that all the time, whether it was negotiated contract. So no one was with me. So this is the individual, not selfish, but individual part of my career. Is I was there when nobody else wasn't. And my wife and I eventually got married and stuff, so she wasn't traveling with me during these years. No, nobody was. I was alone in Florida during the instructional leagues when there's no one watching games, and I'd have to go home and ice, and no one was there. I didn't even know how to ice, but I didn't want to ice at the locker room because I don't want them to think I'm hurt. So this happened. That stuff happened for me all my whole career, and when I finally got to a point where I could maybe negotiate a multi-year contract or started to get there, everyone's going, man, you're too nice. You're not going for multi-year. You're telling them, yes, I'll take it. I'm like, you have no idea. I don't know if I'm going to get up tomorrow. I mean, I don't want to dramatize it too much, but I really don't know. There were times in like Toledo when I had retirement on my mind because I couldn't move to my left, because of my hips or back or whatever. So, not to get too deep and dramatic about all that, but my being nice was because I was realistic. I knew it was going to be used against me in like contracting, or that's not fair either because it was real. It was part of my. When you acquire me, you're acquiring a player that might not be. It's why I wanted to play 156 games a year, just to show them. Right. That had me in the hospital 3 times. 2 or 3 times at the end of every year, though, for shoulder, knee, etc. I'd do it all over again. But so being nice was kind of like part of what I knew what it was like. I didn't even think I'd be here.
You're grateful.
Totally grateful.
Right.
Totally. And I'm like, if I rub them the wrong way, they can replace me. I was not irreplaceable.
Right. Don't give them a reason to get rid of you.
I was definitely replaceable. I needed to have my character shine through on a team.
Yeah, so people who don't know, you suffered from ankylosing spondylitis and it's a very rare disorder. It concerns the back, and that's what hindered your motion a lot. And you try to sort of work through that.
Yeah.
What a pleasure. I mean, I think we're gonna.
I'm sorry I get off on tangents.
No,
good recalls though. Good. Even the Elway jersey. That's a good one.
But when you get off on tangents, that's when you get the best stuff. In my opinion.
And so we're grateful for your time, and I think we probably might have to chop this up into 2. But it was a pleasure having Rico Brogna on Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry.